Well, hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Garden Girl. We're at the end of May now, so our weather has broke and it is truly planting time. We're after Memorial Day, so here we go. I know a lot of you guys are going to be putting in your veggie gardens. A lot of you are waiting and putting in your annuals too. Our Ohio spring hasn't been the best for us, but we're in the clear. Everything is 2 thumbs up and it's full speed ahead. So with that being said, today we are going to cover a little bit on veggies. I know some of you guys are out planting, so I want to make sure you guys are putting them in right and putting them in the right places. So we're going to briefly go over that so that you guys are a little bit successful. And then also, I wanted to mention, today we're in a different location. Today we're down here in our own community at Agland, which I know some of you guys are familiar with. Some of you guys may not be. And we're going to explain a little bit why I'm down here, and why I thought it was important to come down here to Agland, and talk a little about our Tuscarawas County farming community. I think it's very important, and I don't think a lot of people understand the depth, the revenue, and the importance that our agricultural community, which does have to do with plant life, comes into play. So I do really want to touch base on that today. So go grab something to drink, sit out in the sun, your laptop, and stay tuned. We'll be right back.
A nursing home or your own home, it's good to be home. So call Ember Complete Care for all of your home health needs. When you're recovering from illness or injury, our compassionate staff promotes healing in the most comfortable environment of all, your own home. For skilled nursing, physical therapy, wound care, and more, Ember Complete Care serves all of Tuscarawas, Coshocton, and Harrison counties. Call 800-462-0909. Ember Complete Care. It's good to be home.
Agland Country Stores can be found across Northeast Ohio, serving the needs of homeowners, pet owners, and farmers. We have a huge inventory of livestock, pet, equine, farm, and garden supplies. Our organization is a strong supporter of our county 4-H and FFA programs. During the fair, Agland stocks a booth with supplies needed to get everyone through the week. Visit us at 1062 West High Avenue in New Philadelphia or call us at 330-339-1062.
Today's episode is brought to you in part by Allure Hair Studio, located at 210 East 3rd Street in Yerricksville.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to The Garden Girl. I have a surprise guest today. I had to make a few phone calls to pull some strings here, but I got our head honcho down from the Tuscarawas County Extension Office. This would be Chris Zoller. Today, the reason why I wanted to bug you and drag you in here for this was just like I was telling him on the intro. I don't think a lot of you guys realize how important our agricultural community is for our county itself. And now that we're down here at Agland filming, I kind of want to just pull his information together with some numbers that I think you're really going to be shocked by. So I had to get him here because he knows way more about this than me. So Chris, my first question is, how important really is the agricultural community in Tuscarawas County, economically speaking?
It provides probably somewhere around, it varies from year to year, but somewhere around $95 or so million, and that's just farm receipts. So that's things that farmers sell off of their farm. That's what that value is. That doesn't include the packaging, the shipping, the employment, processing, none of that. That's just commodities that leave the farm in this county, $95 million.
Okay, I didn't know it was that high, but I knew it was up there. I knew it was up there. And I did have a few stats. Are we still running about 8th in hay production?
Typically we do, yes, and that has to do with the large livestock industry that we have here.
Right. I know there's in the rough estimate I got was there's literally like 950 farms in Tuscarawas County.
950, 960, somewhere in there, yes.
Wow. Okay. And the average, what I had read was the average farm's roughly 145 acres. I mean, average. I know some are way bigger than that, but average wise, would that be accurate?
Yeah, that is the average size. Of course, there are several that are much bigger than that, but we also have some that are smaller than that. But yeah, that's the average.
Now, in this county itself, what I know we're really known for dairy cattle. I believe we're fourth. Our county is fourth in the state of Ohio for dairy production, and fifth for our beef cattle. Right. So that's a lot. And that takes a lot of food to feed those critters. So that being the case, obviously that's probably where our hay comes into play, being up there. But when we get into grains and what are the different crops that they're growing for not even just the dairy cattle, but for the sheep and the pigs? And
it's primarily corn, soybeans, alfalfa or grass hay, and a lot of that alfalfa especially goes into dairy cattle. You mentioned the dairy cattle being an important part. That accounts for probably about 40% of the total receipts, so that's a big number. So the primary crops would be corn, soybeans, a little bit of wheat, alfalfa, grass hay, maybe a few oats.
Okay. And for these farmers, I personally know, because I've had to throw hay quite a few times on first and second cuttings just for the ponies that we used to have. What kind of hours are these farmers putting in just on their crops to feed the livestock?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's several hours, obviously. Dairy cattle or dairy farms, for instance, they're up well before sunlight and they're after dark. But all livestock, there's a responsibility to those, caring and feeding for them. And the crop producers that we see out there right now that are planting those crops, they're working very hard because the weather we've had this year has been not the best. And so with those small windows of opportunity, they have to take advantage of those. And so if that means planting all night long, that's what you do.
That's a rough, well, it's a good thing. They're bringing in $95 million here, and we need to be thankful for that. That's a lot of revenue. And like you said, if that doesn't even come into play with the employment and what the employees are making, that obviously they do have to hire, that really starts adding up. I mean, that really adds up.
It does. And you look at employees that are on farms, then you look at the support industries that we have, whether that's veterinarians, machinery dealers, feed suppliers, seed suppliers. Yeah. All those support industries help support that production agriculture.
That went right over my head like a blonde. I didn't even think it. I was just thinking of the farmers itself and the crops and, the employees. And I know with farming, isn't there quite a bit, I understand when they're growing soybeans or, hey, I understand that those are just crops, but doesn't our farmers have to put out a lot of money? I mean, I know that equipment's not cheap, and the last time I checked, isn't insurance pretty high? I mean, they have a lot of money going out here, don't they?
They do. It's, this time of year in the spring when they're planting those crops, you're putting a seed in the ground, hoping that in a few months you'll harvest something and be able to pay all those bills back. It's estimated, our extension budgets think that to plant 1 acre of corn is going to cost you about $500.
Yikes. And we all complain about the price of even corn on the cob. That's something I don't think a lot of people do understand, even from a small gardening aspect, which we're kind of going to get into after our next break. But even from a small gardening aspect, when people gripe about a tomato being $2 or $3 at the store, I don't think they realize when we had to start those seeds and the labor that goes into it, the water, the heat, because we do live in Ohio. We're not in North Carolina here. So we have heat that costs, labor, the plastic containers that it goes in. I think that a lot of people don't realize what it really takes in the horticulture industry either to get things to the public.
It doesn't just show up at the grocery store.
No.
Or the farmer's market.
Right. And speaking of where we're at today, down at Agland, one of the reasons I wanted to film here and bring a little bit of maybe enlightenment to our community, Aglin is local. And when I say local, I mean Ohio. This company is strictly in Ohio. Now, it is not owned by, well, it's Agland, but it is a co-op. And when I said, well, what's a co-op? I had a very interesting answer given to me. And it was something that I didn't even know. And when we get back from break, I'm going to give you the definition of that. And I think you're going to be pretty surprised who this money is actually going to when you shop here. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
As the area's leader in direct-to-garment printing, you won't be surprised by Dennison T-Shirt Graphics' huge range of services: screen printing, banners, engraving, graphic design, and embroidery. They offer just about anything you can imagine, like shirts, mugs, hats, plaques, trophies, and more. They're located right here in New Philadelphia on the south side and on the web at DennisonT-shirt.com.
Hi, this is Tom at the Glass Lumber Builder Supply Company. At the Glass Lumber Company, you'll find premium grade lumber cut to order. You'll find windows, doors, tools, and much more. But what really counts is you'll find a family business built on quality products, personal service, and a very knowledgeable staff. The Glass Lumber Builder Supply Company, we're at the Boulevard in New Philadelphia. We are proudly serving the Tuscarawas County since 1951.
We live in a fast-paced world. Say goodbye to searching books and search engines for all the answers. Now there's iTowns. From finding a place to dine or locating your family doctor, you can also check out the high school game of the week from TV2 Sports. Get your answer with just one click. iTowns has it all.
Today's episode is brought to you in part by Allure Hair Studio, located at 210 East 3rd Street in Yerixville.
Well, welcome back, everybody. And as I said, let's jump right into it. So when I asked the question, what exactly is a co-op? What does that mean? Agland is actually owned by Ohio farmers. There is an actual board of directors. They vote. They have members. And when I said, well, what does that do? I guess I didn't quite understand. And it was explained to me, which you probably already know this, but it was explained to me that instead of one farmer having to try to go get seed and pay so much for seed, and then another farmer out on his own going and trying to get seed or fertilizer even for that matter, it's more costly, which in the end would raise prices on everything else. So by having this co-op, which Agland is, they can get together, all these members can get together, and these farmers can get a way cheaper price on it, hence helping keep the prices a little bit down for the end result, which is us, who drink the milk, eat the corn, well, soybeans. I know most of it's used for that, but right. I like soybeans. So, I mean, is there anything else that I'm missing here with the co-op and how it benefits?
I think you probably hit it best where you talked about how it's owned. And again, it is local. It's something that it's available to the residents here, and it supports agriculture as well.
Sure. And I mean, obviously it's a retail store, so they have all kinds of pet supplies, and they have a lot of stuff here. I was walking around, they had a lot of stuff here for, the home gardeners and smaller veggie gardeners. And, I like it. Hey, the farmers can come back in themselves and grab gifts and stuff for the kids. And there was a lot of equine stuff, horsey stuff, which, of course, That's very important to me anyhow. So, I think this is great. If this is a store that's actually keeping all the money local, going back into Ohio communities, and actually when I was looking around in there, I thought prices were pretty competitive. So, and behind me, they have tons of they have veggies and flowers and stuff for everybody. So, they're trying to cater to a little bit of everybody, I think.
Yeah, whether it's the home gardener, like you mentioned, or in the fall you'll see semi-trucks and trucks backed up here with grain to unload to go in the bins back there. So it does cater to quite a diverse population.
Well, and I was asking her too about the lime, and she said, yeah, see, she goes, there's another difference. Yes, you can get bag lime, but we have the bulk lime for those that need larger quantities, which tends to be more cost effective.
Right. It's better to, if you need a large quantity, sure, and it's easier. I mean, who wants to unload 50-pound bags of lime when you need a ton of it, So, but yes, they have the equipment here to do that.
Right. And that's so that was kind of the stuff that I know it's not exactly maybe potting up a container today, but this is a community show and this is about being local. And I just really strongly feel, I personally was a 10-year 4-H member. I still show my flowers over at the fair and enter my tomatoes, and I have a ball with it. And so I think staying community and staying involved in the 4-H, there's lots of programs for the younger kids. I mean, there's tons. They can take gardening. They can enter their own produce. The last time I checked, there's tons of classes for kids, right?
There are. There's hundreds of projects available, whether it's the cows and corn or rockets, natural resources. It's just about anything you can think of. There's a project that'll fit in there somehow.
Well, and I guess I was always in the horse end mostly, but again, I know with our end, if a kid really wanted to be involved, and let's say they live right in downtown, and they don't have a place for the animal or for, say, a project. The last time I checked, there was more than enough people in this community that were willing to help or lease or try to get this kid out there and get them involved so that they could become a part of it. Is that still seem to be the trend?
That's still true. We have a lot of kids who live in town, want to take a livestock project, but obviously aren't allowed to keep it in town.
Sure.
Yet have family or friends or someone who's willing and says, hey, we've got space, bring it out here. As long as you help care for it, we're more than willing to do it. And that's a very good thing.
Well, and I know I personally can't do it because I get too attached to everything. But the last time, at least the buzzword I had heard, the market projects have just gone through the roof as far as beef and even the chickens and the sheep and the pigs. That's a big one. I mean, these kids are collecting some really nice college money from what I've heard. Is that true?
That is true. You're right. Livestock projects have increased. It's tremendous, especially in the poultry area. Chickens and turkeys, just outrageous. And it's a good problem to have in that we're running out of space at the fairgrounds, but it's a good problem to have. I'd rather have, trying to find space and trying to look for animals to put in there. And it does provides money for those kids to go to college and save some money.
Well, and again, you have to have feed. So you got to have crops to feed these animals that these kids are taking, that they're proudly showing at the fair, and then collecting really, really, really nice checks on. So again, this is community driven, it's local driven. Now, talking about now let's get back into the gardening stuff, because I know you guys are probably bored right now and ready to stick a fork in your eye, but hey, just hold with me here. When we talk about, say you're doing a vegetable garden, and if you're like me, you have an overloaded tomatoes because you planted too many and you can't can fast enough. If I wanted to become involved in the farmers markets, and say start my own little garden, make a little extra money, or just do something local so you can buy local produce, where would a person get started with that? I mean, we have one at the fairgrounds, right?
There's a farmers market at the fairgrounds, right? And there's a process to go through that. Not just anybody can show up and sell anything they want, but if you contact those folks and talk with them. And the other thing too is that a lot of communities have their own little garden or little markets as well. So you could take things from your garden and take it there.
Well, and I know if you guys are like me and you're thinking about it, I did do a little bit of checking. I know there's a form that you can, that you go through and you fill out. And I think every community is a little different. And as far as if I stand corrected here, as long as you're not trying to take cheesecake over there, you're in good shape. If it's your tomatoes, your peppers, your corn, your actual produce, then there's no legalities, I guess, or regulations. We're going to stay away from anything processed, though, for the most part.
A lot of our processed canned foods, those sorts of things. Yeah, there are rules about those, but if it's a dozen ears of corn or some tomatoes out of your garden, that's fine.
And it's not a bad idea, guys, to check into it, because if you're new to the vegetable gardening, I have tried to tell people in classes, don't go overboard your first year or you will end up hating it because it's a lot of work. But if you're like most people, you plant way too much because, hey, there's a 6-inch spot for something else. Let's throw another tomato in. So if that's the case, you're going to have more than what you know to do with. And I know something we are going to do next week is we are going to talk about organic methods and organic. I know we brought it up a little bit because you guys were wanting to know the definition of organic. And we are going to talk about that because if we're going to feed our local people around here and you guys are going to take stuff, let's try to stay away from the chemicals if we can. Let's try to stay organic so that we know we're not causing Bobby Sue down the road cancer 20 years from now, which I know has been a big concern. And have you guys seen more organics being used in the industry? Because that's been the trend with ours, but are you guys seeing more of that now too?
There's more of an interest in it. I guess the one thing we haven't figured out yet is how can we feed the population using just organic methods. It's just really difficult. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. That's what folks want to do. No problem with that. But it's a different type of management style.
Well, it's a lot more time consuming. I know that. You get into biological methods with parasitic wasps and all kinds of good stuff.
More physical labor.
It is. It's a lot more physical labor. So you guys hang tight. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to go through just a little bit of, I know you guys are probably plopping things in the ground. So I'm going to grab some different vegetables and make sure you're plopping them in the right place and the right depth and the right way. So you stay tuned and we'll be right back.
We live in a fast-paced world. Say goodbye to searching books and search engines for all the answers. Now there's iTowns. From finding a place to dine or locating your family doctor, you can also check out the high school game of the week from TV2 Sports. Get your answer with just one click. iTowns has it all.
Hi, I'm Elaine Miller with Naturally Green Cleaning Service. My company serves both commercial and residential clients. We do general cleaning, spring and fall, empty homes to get them move-in ready, and final cleans for new construction. We use eco-friendly cleaning products that leave your home or office fresh, clean, and safe for you, your family, pets, or coworkers. Our focus at Naturally Green is to provide excellent customer service paired with outstanding work to build a relationship of trust with you, our clients. Having served the area 4+ years, we have had many referrals and testimonials that you can access on our website at www.naturallygreencs.com. Our work sells itself, therefore we have never had any contracts even with our largest commercial accounts. Call us today for your free quote and see what makes our company stand out.
Searching for quality bottled water? Call Crystal Springs Water Company. Crystal Springs Water is a family-owned and operated company that's been proudly serving the community since 1986. Crystal Springs offers a quality bottled water in a variety of sizes to suit your everyday needs. They also carry a selection of water coolers, cups, bottle racks, hydro pumps, and premium water softening salts. All available for pickup or delivery. Call Crystal Springs Water Company today.
Today's episode is brought to you in part by Allure Hair Studio, located at 210 East 3rd Street in Yerixville.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the last part of our episode. So I said I'm just going to go over really quick in the ending a few of the veggie stuff, because I know a lot of people are out there planting their vegetables and their annuals, and it's soon to be perennial season. So with that being said, I am holding a thing of watermelons, okay? And I know that the container gardening and the small space or the raised bed gardening is a wonderful thing, and it is. But I'm not really sure if that's a great thing for watermelons and butternut squash. And there's certain vegetables, especially like the pumpkins, if you grow giant pumpkins like I have, you definitely do not want to put them in a square foot garden. They're going to overtake everything. So with that being said, remember that when you have anything in your squash family and in your melon family, pumpkins, your watermelons, guys, put them the old school way. Put them in a mound. Somebody says, well, can't we do a container? Can't we just put them in a container? All right, have fun with that. That thing's going to grow and probably drag the container with it. Melons need a lot of space to roam. And I know for one, the 2 years I grew pumpkins, but the 1 year in particular, I had over 50-foot vines. So you've got to give these guys a lot of space. I don't recommend anything like that for our melon families. So just bear that in mind. Plant them in nice big mounds. Get a nice big dip in the middle so that it acts as a water reservoir. Because when these guys really start cooking and growing, come midsummer, they don't take much water right now, but they will. You're going to be amazed at how fast these take off. So make sure you get a nice big dip in that mound. And don't put too many in. If you want to plant more than was what recommended at first, that's fine. Make sure you have survivors. But then get down to only maybe 2 watermelon in a mound. They really will take up the nutrients. So with that being said, we go into cucumbers. Okay, cucumbers are fun. There's a couple different ways you can do them. You can look, there are bush type of cucumbers. Now your bush type of cucumbers, you can definitely put in a container. That is more than fine. But you got to make sure you read the tag again. This is actually a vining cucumber. So get yourself a little trellis, make a little teepee, but it's going to want to climb up stuff. And last but not least, I know we talked about our tomatoes, but when you go and get them from the store, remember, you're going to plant them up pretty far. So all this is going to come out. And if there are any suckers that you see, I know I always call them suckers, but that's what they named them. So if you're seeing any suckers, you want to make sure you pick them out. So I hope that answered a couple last minute, quick little tidbits and tricks and tips just before you guys get them in the ground. Oh, come to think of it, next week we might be out at a special place. I'm going to do some checking, but soon we're going to take you out to a really neat place again in our community, and I don't think a lot of you guys have heard about it. So we're going to do a little bit of touring. Now that summer is here, we're going to check out some really neat places. Other than that, I can't think of anything else. You guys have an awesome weekend and have fun, and let's keep praying for this beautiful weather, and I'll see you soon.